DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
What's up, Delaware and beyond? Welcome back into our Wilmington DETV studios for another sports update. Monday, November 6th. Nick Alessandrini joined by, as always, the crew, Jason McCall, Matt Maurer, and we are here to talk a little football. We'll recap Week 9. We'll have our Monday Night Football preview. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA and update through about 5 or 6 games across the league. And then we'll take a look at the college basketball top 25 at the very end of the show if we have some time, as college basketball now underway as well as some of the local teams getting in action starting tonight. I believe Del State and Delaware both begin their seasons tonight. So a lot to talk about, including some basketball. Dennis is back, as always, behind the glass. We'll have his question of the week here in a little while as well. But Jason, you're dressed up. We got your gear on, Lamar Jackson crew neck, got the Baltimore Ravens hat on. But before we get to the Ravens, what were you up to this weekend?
Yeah, I really start every show with this, okay? So this weekend, did some volunteer work for the job. We had a community bingo on Saturday. It was a very, very big hit, as it always is, with our patrons and our clients in our community. So feel good about doing that. And then last night I went to a concert. Saw Anthony Hamilton at the Met. It was a rescheduled concert from a couple of months ago, so they finally found a date for it, and I'm glad it was rescheduled. Glad I was still able to go and had a great time. But y'all know why I'm here. You see what I have on. You know why I'm here, so can't wait to get the show started.
That's right. We'll talk about your Baltimore Ravens here shortly. And again, yeah, you had a concert yesterday. I know you told us you weren't going for a concert in a while, but this was the one that was rescheduled. So yeah. After this, you got a little break. No more concerts for a little while?
No more concerts. Break. Break. Need the rest.
Did you win any bingo?
Oh, no, I was just working there. No bingo
so you couldn't
for me.
Win.
Yeah,
Can't win.
No bingo for me. But we did end up raffling off, or somebody won a 50-inch flat screen, so that was pretty cool to see. Yeah, so a bunch of gift cards and things, raffled off winners for that. So
action-packed weekend. You got all that work, charity, nice volunteer work in, and you get to see your Ravens take care of business on Sunday. Good wholesome weekend for Jason McCall.
Yeah, it's a great weekend. Can't complain.
And now Matthew Maurer, how was your weekend? Was as wholesome and filling as Jason McCall's weekend this past weekend?
I don't think I ever have any weekends as fulfilling as Jason's.
You know what? I agree with you there, 100%.
But no, I just spent the time catching up on film. It's college basketball season starting, so I did a little mock draft for 2024. So that's all I've been really catching up on, just trying to make sure that have my ducks in a row for this upcoming season. So that's all. Really.
Anything? I just to put you on the spot here, out of your work that you were just talking about, anything stand out to you early on? As you said, you're just beginning. Anything that you want to? It's notable here as we start basketball season. I
think this year Australia is going to surprise a lot of people with what they have across the pond over there. I mean, they've got about probably six NBA prospects over there. Not just all from Australia, but they also have a couple kids that from Lithuania that went over there, and as well as a couple Americans that actually they're doing like LaMelo Ball, where they're going over there for another year. So, it's going to be like 5 or 6 kids coming out of that Australia program probably that we're going to see them names probably in the draft. At least 5, I can say. 6 might be a stretch, but definitely 5.
Do they all have better career outlooks than Ben Simmons, the other Australian, going forward? What do we think, huh?
Oh, man.
Well, probably Alexander Sarr probably does. He's probably going to be a top 3 pick. He's a big guy. Yeah, he's really good. He played at OTE last year, and he decided to go over to Australia. He's originally from France, so he's a really good player. So, yeah, he's got some really good upside.
Well, yeah, coming up in just about a month away or two, we have the Slam Dunk to the Beach coming back down here at Cape Henlopen.
So give it up for that.
That's right. I'll be calling some of those games on live stream for some of the networks.
So I think we heard tickets, right?
I think we're gonna have to get down there.
I think I heard tickets for that.
Get down there.
I think that's what I heard from you, sir.
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll find us down. Catch us down in Lewis, December. I think it's 26th is when that gets underway. So we'll be back there. Also, Del State, Delaware next Wednesday. I'll be on the call for that one as well. I'll see you down there.
Yeah, I'll be at the game.
I will see you down there.
You bet your bottom dollar we'll miss that. But while we're on college basketball for a second, tip of the cap. Rest in peace, Mr. Walter Davis.
Yep.
UNC legend.
Yep.
Rest in peace, good sir.
Yep. And he actually spent a season at Stanford, his senior year in Delaware. So
that's right.
He does have some Delaware ties. So.
Saw that. Matt enlightened me on that with social media a little bit earlier today. Absolutely. You were absolutely right about that. And with that being said, guys, we'll touch on a little bit the top 25 as we progress later on. But let's start with some of these Week 9 headlines and dive into some of this NFL action that we saw yesterday. Just to stop off the top here, it'll be the Eagles. That's where we're going to start today. The biggest game, Fox's game of the week. The Eagles at home at Lincoln Financial Field taking on the Dallas Cowboys. It was a good one, back and forth. Dak looked good. I thought Jalen Hurts looked good, and the Cowboys had a chance down the wire. They couldn't get it done as CeeDee Lamb tackled at the goal line. Eagles hold on 28-23. Hurts 17-23, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dak looked good, 29-44, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns. Was sacked 5 times though in this game, and we saw Devontae Smith, we saw AJ Brown. They both looked good. CeeDee Lamb looked incredible in this game. They're finally starting to throw him the ball, as we tried to talk about a few weeks ago. But Eagles, they now take a 2.5 game lead in this division in the NFC East. The Cowboys, that I thought looked decent in the game, but the Eagles get the victory. Jason, what do you take away from this one between the Eagles and the Cowboys?
Nothing.
When is it as you thought it would go?
No, I thought that Dallas would come out on the other side with the victory.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, and they should have. You had the ball in the red zone 3 times in the fourth quarter. You don't come away with any points. That's something you got to correct.
It's been their Achilles heel all season.
Achilles heel all season, but it
last in the NFL.
Definitely reared its ugly head on yesterday, and some of the miscues with Dak stepping out and
that was the big one.
And what was it, Ferguson at the 1 or something like that with the stretch.
The other tight end, Shoemaker.
Shoemaker got tackled.
About half, or maybe inches were the difference there.
Because I think that those are the only 2 differences in the Cowboys winning and losing that game. Again, I'm not bashing the Eagles. The 8-1 is 8-1, but the 8-1 is still kind of you're skating by teams right now still, mm-hmm. So it doesn't look as impressive. I'll say that. But again, we're critiquing an NFC champion playing the Super Bowl last year, so you're gonna find stuff that you don't like and you speak on it. But yeah, I really thought Dallas put up a decent fight. They should have come away with the victory. I know where I am. I know I shouldn't be talking about the Cowboys like that around this area, but I'm a Ravens fan. Who cares? But no. AJ Brown, AJ Brown. I just can't say anything about it enough. And whatever Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are doing in the locker room during the week for these touchdown celebrations, keep it going. It's not the no fun league anymore, man. We bring the fun back to the game. So, but no. Last thing I would say is, the Eagles secondary is in trouble. I say it every week, but it's going to take a team to expose that, and they got exposed halfway. Like CeeDee Lamb was running all over the place and catching everything, but a team puts together a whole game instead of a 1/2 or 3/4, you're going to see that's going to be the Achilles heel later on in the season. But good win, 8-1's 8-1, so nothing but credit to that.
Yeah, and man, I think we talked about that going back to last week. We talked about that Eagles defense. That secondary was kind of something we've been mentioning all year. 26, I think, in the league against the pass. One of the worst defenses against the pass in all of the league so far. We're seeing that. They made that trade for Kevin Byard. Probably a lot of people thought that would help out. It hasn't through 2 weeks, given some time able to get acclimated with the defense, but it hasn't worked out like we talked about for 2 weeks. Dak, 375 yards. 3 touchdowns in that game yesterday, a very high passer rating, his best game of the season. It just seems like whatever quarterback gets to play this Eagles secondary, they're great against the run, that Eagles defense. They can't stop you really that much through the air, and we saw that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jason talked about this when the trade happened, that the Titans safety Byard is not good for that scheme that they want him to play. Jason did want to tip a hat to him. He did mention that. I'll say this. If anything, it's not just the secondary. If anything happens to that front in terms of injuries, which we don't want, of course not, but if injuries do happen, that's going to be huge for them. Because I'll tell you this, the way they stopped Pollard was impressive. He really couldn't get anything going. And I got to be honest, the Cowboys are in trouble too because they just exposed how bad Richard Steele is, the right tackle. I mean, Hassan Reddick picked on him. If it wasn't him, it was Carter. I mean, they were just exposing that whole side, and most of the pressure came from the right side. Didn't come from the left really. It really came from the right. I think the only bright spot for the Eagles, really, if we're being honest, is the safety. I forget his name. Gentleman's name escapes me.
Reed Blankenship?
Yep. He's the only one that seems to me that puts forth effort and gives a damn. The rest of them are pretty much like, oh, yeah, okay, we're going to get bailed out here if something will happen. But he's the one that seems to have the most heart and soul and really wants to put forth effort out there. Look, Eagles, can't say I'm surprised by it. I think they did well. Hurts did well. A.J. Brown, I mean, I think the defenses might want to try to guard that guy. I mean, I don't know. Pretty good. And Dallas Goedert going down is going to definitely going to hurt him. I think he's just a great short yard guy. And, I think he's one of the better, one of the most athletic tight ends out there. Definitely top 5 talent in terms of a tight end. So, unfortunately, he's going to be out now. So, they're going to have to make some adjustments, obviously.
I was going to give a shout-out while we're being an interactive show here. My guy, Aaron Bass, is watching us on Facebook Live right now. You put a Goldbergs in the caption there. He's probably the Eagles.
We need some of that on this
Eagles
show.
Super fan. So, shout out.
What market are we in?
Shout out to brother AB for that. I'll let you know, we are an interactive show here at DETV Sports.
If you got questions for us, we can
drop them in the chat
during the show. Dennis will let us know there. But you talked about Jason coming in. The game you weren't shocked. You said the game really didn't, move you with the needle a certain way for you for either team. Did you coming into the game? Who did you think was the better team, the Cowboys or the Eagles?
I mean, the Eagles are clearly the better team coming. I just thought that they would lose at home, but at the same time, those two teams always split, so I expected a different outcome in Dallas. I mean, unless the Eagles pack the refs in their duffel bags with them.
Which definitely could be true.
And just to go back to a point,
Nick Sirianni, stop crying, man.
I knew he was going to get that into the show.
Stop crying,
There you go.
But to go back to Jason's point, I do agree with him the fact that the 8-1 is, through 9 games, they were 9-0 last year. But the easiest schedule in the league to start last season, they were 9-0, and I still think it was, as Jason said, not as impressive this year, obviously, to the visual as it was last season. That defense is just not the same. I think it all starts with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and the loss, of him being the leader on the back end. He goes to Detroit. He actually, I think, will be coming back here in a few weeks for the Lions, depending on how that recovery is going. They're missing him. Bradbury has not been the same guy last year who earned that big contract in the offseason. That was part of the reason Chauncey Gardner-Johnson walked in free agency. They didn't give him the money he was looking for because they re-signed Bradbury. And Slay's been better, but still not as good as he was last year. Last year, I believe, first team All-Pro.
Slay's just getting older.
That boy cooked.
That's true.
He's just getting older. That's it.
Isn't it amazing how a year, I'm not saying he's totally fallen off, but a year can make a difference.
At the exact same time, Bradbury's never been that guy. That's why he's been on a couple different teams.
Better on the wrong horse.
He's had good seasons. He's had seasons. Like last year, his season,
he's had up and down.
Good.
He's had seasons where, it's like a bright spot here and there, and then you get other stuff the rest of the time. So,
and he needs, you're right, I think he needs good guys around him in that secondary. Last year he had that, and this year he doesn't. And I think it's showing a little bit.
He's not the guy. He's one of the guys. But he got paid like he was the guy.
Should have gave Gardner-Johnson that money.
Yeah.
They're missing 7 faces from that starting defense last year. A lot of people didn't really think about that too much coming in. They think they may have replaced it, but it's showing. It's not the same defense as it was last season. They're going to have to tighten things up, Sean Desai and company there. But they do hold on. They do get the victory, but again, teams continue to kill them through the air. Dak with a huge game yesterday. And just before we move on, NFC landscape, guys, Eagles, your favorites right now in the NFC, and maybe your top 3 teams as we head forward here in the NFC. Ravens doesn't even care about the NFC. Could not care.
No.
Pulling teeth.
No. In the NFC, I can see that in the NFC. I can see that in the NFC, but in NFL, no, that they're not the best team in the NFL. I'm sorry, they're not.
Yeah, I was asked to NFC if I had to go.
NFC, yes. NFL, no. And you know where I'm going.
Is it a 3-horse race? Let me ask you guys this then. And Matt, I'll start with you. Is it a 3-horse race in the NFC? Is it Cowboys, Niners, Eagles, and that's it? Are the Lions in that tier?
Not to me.
No, so just those three?
Yeah, I'd say those three.
Those three, or the Lions make it 4? What do you think? I think the Lions have a shot. I give them I give those 4 teams.
I would say those 3, and it's probably like 3 and 3A between the Cowboys and Lions. 3 and 3A. I would say that. But definitely Eagles number 1. San Fran is number 2.
Yeah, they'll have to figure some stuff out.
But
3 in a row. Good bye week time for them.
But I think, well, again, if your team is 5 and 3 after the bye, after halfway through the season, that's still a decent season.
Yeah,
so it's not like we're talking about them being 3 and 7 or something like that right now. But the addition of Chase Young is going to make a big difference.
That's right.
They might go on a 3-4 game winning streak just because they can get to the quarterback a little better now.
And again, they had that defensive line. They put all that money invested in that defensive line. We talked about those names, and Matt, you talked about it on the show last week. Yep. They were not getting home this year. Completely different than what we saw last year. One of the worst teams in terms of pass rush rate of getting home on the season, which when you look at those names up front, that is not what you expect. So adding Chase Young, maybe they can get back to what they had last year, but it's not like they're adding Chase Young to an already unbelievable defensive line. At least they're not playing like that right now. They definitely could turn that corner going forward. But that's for me. I have those 4 teams in the NFC going forward. And then we'll head across the pond, as Jason likes to say, Chiefs and the Dolphins going at it in Germany. Frankfurt, Germany, the NFL's first game over there in Germany. They have games in London, games in Germany. Jason.
Bratwurst.
Why? My only question is...
I was gonna say, is it too much if we are against that here on this show?
My only question is...
Are we allowed to be against that?
I couldn't care less. I'm not paid by the NFL. My only question is, why? Why do we have games in Germany?
I think this was like a Tom Brady, Giselle Bundchen.
Why do we have games in England?
I mean, I think that was part of this deal back when they signed it.
If we're going to do this, bring back NFL Europe. I'm just saying. If we're going to do this, bring back the NFL Europe League. I mean, because Frankfurt Galaxy was a team there.
That's why you could be those in Madden.
Rhine Fire, play with old Madden all the time,
right.
They had some of the coolest uniforms in the league back in the day.
Shout out to Lawrence Phillips. Yeah.
Lawrence Phillips.
Shout out Jeff Garcia.
R.I.P.
Shout out to Steve Spagnuolo, who was the coach of the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Steve Spagnuolo. We love Steve Spagnuolo.
Coordinator for the Chiefs. But, hey, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? Hot take. Dolphins might be frauds. They don't play up to competition. They beat all the sorry teams. You play a team winning record, it disappear. You guys have blown my ticket every time.
That's where the hatred stems from.
Against a good team.
Yeah.
We're starting to see that it's starting to be a constant theme here. And need y'all to do something different. Jalen Ramsey was out there, but was he really out there? Waddle was in out the lineup. Didn't get consistent rhythm the whole game. But Dolphins, if y'all want to consider the top team in the league, which we were putting you in that category just a few weeks ago, you're making us look bad right now. Get together.
And again, one of those teams, I forget which one got there early in the week. The other one arrived late in the week.
Can I insert the idea that maybe the Dolphins aren't who we thought they were because Tua is not who people think he is?
I don't think it's solely on
He's
Tua's
got the
shoulders.
weapons, but I don't know if he has the ability.
And they have the running game, though.
They had that working a little bit yesterday. I will say that Chiefs defense is one of the best defenses in the league this year. It's crazy how well that defense is playing. For them to have, they might be the top 3 defense in the league.
Yeah, all this talent on the offensive side, and they can't get it together.
14 points.
Yeah. And shout out to my boy Pat Mahomes, the GOAT.
Oh my God! After yesterday,
this is what I'm talking about. The GOAT.
184 yards.
You hear how this? You hear this noise here? And by the way, I like to say the reigning MVP.
He's playing like this. He'll never.
Somebody
have one again.
didn't get the MVP.
He'll never have one
last
again.
year. That was in Philadelphia. That thought they should have got the MVP.
I thought he should have, but I had no problem with him
and
getting it.
And then they went to the Super Bowl and didn't get the bigger prize, which was the title. But let's just keep that going. Yeah. Anyways, the MVP, Pat Mahomes, has again led the Chiefs to a 7-2 record,
which is also doesn't pass the eye test to me either.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah,
their first game of the season when they played against the Lions, everybody was writing that obituary ticket. I should know because I got some good money on those bets. I appreciate you guys for chipping in. Appreciate that. Got some good bet money on that. I told everybody they weren't going to go down. People were writing the death tickets. People were saying, they're not making the playoffs. They're going to get...
Now, who said that?
Yeah, who's saying that?
Dude,
Pat Mahomes not making the playoffs.
As much as people like greatness, and you guys know this, as much as people like greatness, they hate greatness, and they hate dominance. And when you have a gentleman that's been to 3 Super Bowls in 3 years, last 3 years, and he beat, Anyways, when you have that happen,
I don't like to make excuses.
People don't like that.
That field wasn't like that field.
That field wasn't like that
pass
field.
rush would have got home, man.
That pass rush would have got home. You want to talk about frauds? Let's talk about that pass rush last year that couldn't even beat a top 15 offensive line. I'm going to rest my case there, though.
Go back and watch the tape.
Go back and watch the tape. How about you watch the tape of that Smith-Schuster hold? Anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You need a penalty win.
Shout out.
Super Bowl.
Shout out to Pat Mahomes and having that trophy. Did you guys win last year? I'm confused. Did you win?
Up here. Let me tell you.
Did you win?
And I'm not the type of person to rub anything in or
That's what I'm
complain
talking
about it
That's
or
what I'm
anything
talking
like
about.
that. Listen, I like Pat Mahomes. Deserved the MVP last year. No problem with that. This year,
haters ball,
he's been
baby.
trash.
Let's do it.
To use a phrase from
Trash?
Dennis, hot trash is what he's been this year.
How many
And
yards Jalen Hurts got this year?
Rushing and receiving.
Who? How many? No, we're not doing that game.
What?
Everybody has to play that game. We're gonna go rushing and
Mahomes is rushing
receiving.
more than he's ever done this year too.
Right.
And you complain about the
Rushing and
receivers
receiving.
well.
Last year,
I'll tell
rushing
you.
and receiving
I'm
yards.
with Jason. He's
Last
not
year,
passing the eye test.
he's not
Something
passing the
does
eye
not
test?
look right.
Well,
I don't
he's
know
number
if it's-
3 in passing
if
yards.
Brittany
Where's your
Mahomes
man
been
at?
hanging out with Taylor Swift girl.
Where's your man's
too
passing
much,
yards
man?
at? He's 5th, right?
Play nice, guys.
know,
Play
man.
nice.
He's 5th, right?
man.
Now I'm gonna tell you, he's 5th.
Play nice.
But you want to tell me he MVP though? But
I didn't say he
but
was
Mahomes
MVP.
is having a down
I
year.
didn't
He's
say
3rd.
he was MVP.
How does this happen?
Mahomes has right now the best defense in the league. That's how it's
Oh,
happening.
he does not. Now we're gonna cut that lie right there.
All right,
That's
my bad.
that's
Second
his
best. All right,
squad.
I'll
What are you
say second
talking
best.
about?
Second
We're not
best.
doing
Look at
that.
the numbers.
What are you talking
Second
about?
best. This
Hey.
Chiefs defense has been almost as good. Ravens number 1. I'll give you that. Ravens have been better. The Chiefs defense has been unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. And Pat Mahomes has number 3 in passing yards and number 4 in touchdowns.
I'm just saying.
But he's having a bad year that you tell it.
I've seen
Bad
all the
year?
games.
If that's a bad year, sign me up.
Listen, there's a
Brock
lot more.
Purdy, go.
Here we go.
I want that guy.
Here we go.
Sign
Listen.
me up for that guy.
You're looking at just the numbers. I've seen almost every snap of every Chiefs game this year. He has not played the same.
That sounds like obsession
I'm
to
telling
me.
you right now, I watch every snap of almost every
Somebody's
game.
a fan.
It's part of my life.
Somebody's
every
a fan
snap
here.
of almost every game
He's
of every
watched
team.
every snap.
Almost. I missed the drive.
That
or
shit
two
burns,
here
don't
and there.
it? That shit burns. It burns
What?
bad. They can tell. He's
I'm
watching
telling
every.
But that's every team. It's not just the
fraud. This guy's a fraud. He's not that good.
You got State Farm
I
insurance?
saw every snap. He ain't that good.
I didn't say he's not that good. I'm just saying, as compared to what we've seen from Patrick Mahomes the last couple years, this year he ain't doing it. Unless he figures it out, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're not. He just won't.
Okay, let's go.
I mean, I love that you guys are laughing hysterically, and I guess that drives your point home or something. I'm not sure. Maybe it's for dramatic effect, but he's not as good as he was last year. He's not. I don't know what you want me to say.
Dramatic effect
He's
is
still Patrick
crazy.
Mahomes, and yes, we hold him to a higher standard,
Dramatic
and we
effect
don't
is
expect him to
wild.
ever be out of the top 5 in the NFL. That's just not in this reality. I agree
But
with you
did he
there.
get the MVP last year? That's all I want.
Yes. Did I say he didn't
All right,
get the
I'm
MVP?
just making sure.
I'm so confused.
Did he win the title last year?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Wait,
All right.
can we speak on something now?
Go ahead.
I think the Swifties, Taylor Swift, it's the new Kardashian effect. Kelsey, 3 receptions, 14 yards.
That's right.
So you mean to tell me that Pat Mahomes won without Travis Kelce? Okay. Sign me up.
My bad, though. My bad. I just.
Matt is usually very rational. Today he is irrational.
No, I'm
He's
just
off the
having
board.
fun. I'm just having fun.
I'm sorry.
I'm just having fun.
I didn't help your cause at all with that one. I'm sorry.
Did not help your cause at all.
My bad.
Oh my goodness.
At all.
I'm all for.
But no, I'm serious. Let's talk about Josh Dobbs though. I gotta get my hat off to Josh.
Josh Dobbs, tip of the cap to Josh
All right,
Dobbs.
let's put a bow on this Chiefs and Dolphins talk here. Dolphins, as Jason mentioned, 0-3 versus teams with a winning record. It's the Bills, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. Who are you more worried about going forward, Dolphins or Chiefs? And I know
Dolphins.
Matt, I
Dolphins.
know your answer. Dolphins.
I'm going to hit Dolphins.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins too.
It's tough to say Dolphins over the Chiefs because the Chiefs really don't have any weapons, but they're still finding ways. And until
Say that again. What is
they're
it?
still finding ways to win. So,
Okay.
Until
Sound like somebody else I know.
Until
Listen,
I mean, I can say the same thing about the Eagles.
if
too.
you have the best quarterback in the league, which I will say, Patrick Mahomes is. You cannot say he's not the best quarterback in the league. He just is, right? I'll give you that. Would you disagree with that?
I wouldn't.
See, right? This is.
I
When
wouldn't.
you
I'm
have
not
the
gonna-
best quarterback in the league,
So
you
look,
got to find ways.
I
to
finally
win.
said it. Okay, you leave me alone. I never
Well,
said
you were
it.
against him being the MVP last year.
I was.
I remember.
I was.
I was too.
Okay.
No, I was. I said, hey, I was. I just said,
But again, after
I didn't run from it.
After Hurts
No,
got
no.
hurt, though, we knew that. Was
yeah. The
wrapped
Hurts
it up.
Hurts got hurt. Imagine that.
Imagine that. Like with the knee.
When you can do it with your legs, you know. And I will say this though about the way he runs this year. Doesn't look like the same runner, at least to me. He's not.
Well, when he got
he's
hands up
banged
his butt with tush push every time,
He's
not going to run
banged
the ball
up.
the
He's
same.
not gliding
Just
like
saying.
he was. I think
Tush
he's
push.
taking.
Tush push.
Did
He
you
should
see
be
that?
illegal next season.
Did you see that weird slide he took yesterday? That was whenever he landed up slide, it was an awkward slide. He just doesn't look as comfortable out there. I think he's trying not to run as much, and I think it's showing a little bit. But hopefully he can get healthy. I think that knee's a little banged up.
And y'all talked about Lamar doing the same thing though. Anyway, keep going.
Go ahead. That's what we're talking about. Talk your
Anyway,
stuff.
keep going.
Anyways, Joshua Dobbs gives my ultimate respect. Guy came from a losing situation, just hopped in the plane. They just said, look, you're starting, came in, won against, the Falcons. Great game, great. I know he's nobody, but in terms of but his mama love him. And look, I was really impressed with what he did.
He came out the ice bath.
Right.
Didn't know anybody's name.
You didn't know nobody's name.
Didn't know any plays.
Yeah,
Literally didn't know anything.
that's a fact.
Just went out there and went off instinct, and they beat the Falcons.
It was a big game, too.
It's a big game.
Big game.
It was a big game. I mean, you can't script that. Like, you can't write that kind of story. Like, really? Josh Dobbs came in off the trash heap, if you will. The trade still,
Right.
wow.
6th and the 7th.
But honestly, let's go back.
Yep.
I liked Josh Dobbs coming out of Tennessee when he first came out of college. I did. I thought he had something. I think he got a raw deal in Pittsburgh after they went through the Mason Rudolph phase and all that kind of stuff. I think he kind of got a raw deal in Pittsburgh. That's just me. And I look at Josh Dobbs the way I look at Geno right now. As far as Josh Dobbs just needs a situation where he can play more than half the season, and you'll see what he can actually do. He had some bright spots for the Cardinals, but now he comes over to the Vikings, who actually need him.
Yeah,
and it's a difference when you feel needed and wanted at the same time. Mm-hmm. You're going to give your all. So I'm not going to write off Minnesota from making the playoffs just yet. I know it's only 5-4.
Yeah.
But 5-4 with basically you without your number one receiver, without your quarterback, that says a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him credit for this one. It was one game, so I'm not gonna be the prisoner of the moment. But hats off to Josh Dobbs coming in and leading that team to victory against the Falcons. But it's not really saying much either. It's the Falcons. But Heineke looked good though.
Yeah, I'll say, listen, I think they're a playoff team just because I think the rest of the NFC is that bad.
I agree with you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, not my AFC, but it's all right.
Nah,
Keep
NFC
going.
looking just a little bit weaker than the AFC this year. And with that being said, let's talk about your Baltimore Ravens.
Let's talk about it.
Jason,
Let's talk about
37-3
it.
in Baltimore, tied for that top spot now in the AFC. There you go. What do you think after that win yesterday at home? Defense looks good. Offense.
Best team in the NFL. That's what I think. Best team in the NFL. I don't care what you Philly fans say. You can at me. You can highlight me in the comments. You can call my phone. Most of you have my number. I do not care. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. The Ravens are the number one team in the NFL. We beat two of the top-ranked teams in the NFC by a combined score of what, 70-something to 9.
Talking that
Which
talk
would be
right
the
now.
Lions and the Seahawks, who are both still playoff contenders right now. If you in the playoffs end today, it scored 9 points in 2 games. I'm sorry, the Ravens defense is averaging 4.4 yards per play. Leading the league in sacks. Right now, if we just look at just raw numbers, this is the Ravens' best defense since 2000. We know what happened in the year 2000. Brought home and Vince Lombardi. I'm not saying they're there yet, but they're awfully close, and Roquan looks like Baby Ray out there. And we had the league's leader in interceptions, Geno Stone, who was an afterthought 2 years ago because he was one of our practice squad players and came in garbage time. League interceptions.
Talking heavy right now.
I'm just saying.
We go.
Best team in the NFL. You had to come through Baltimore because I think the Chiefs may lose a game or two. That way we can steal home field.
Can you tell us about Keaton Mitchell?
Keaton Mitchell, my man, rookie, undrafted free agent. His daddy played for the Ravens. He ran back a pick 6 in 2000 against the Titans. And his son, Keaton Mitchell, 9 carries, 138 yards on Sunday. He said there's more to where that came from. And we had a Mark Andrews sighting on Sunday.
It's a couple games in a row.
And Odell scored a touchdown on his birthday. Would you look at that? Would you look at
And
that?
he ignores Zay Flowers. Well, I started on fantasy.
Well,
Come on, bro.
I think to that point, I agree with you. I think it's more a situation like how, to go back to the Eagles, how they don't always involve Smith and Brown at the same time. I think it's one of those situations where both the quarterbacks, Jackson and Hurts, have to find an equal balance to distribute to their star guys. That's just what I think it is. But again, we ran the ball. The Gus bust. How many touchdowns? He had two touchdown game again? That's 5 touchdowns in 2 weeks?
All he does is score touchdowns.
There's a reason why we didn't trade for Derrick Henry, as all the blogs and critics were hyping for. The Ravens have a running back room. We've had a running back room for the last 8 years solid. Somebody gets hurt, the next guy steps up. We can go back to the years of Alice Collins, rest in peace, Justin Forsett. I mean, I can go down the line with names. Taliaferro. I can keep going down the line, but we just had running backs. I mean, we paid the wrong guy, J.K., because he clearly stays hurt, so his option was declining anyway, so he won't be back. But I think Gus should be the starting RB. He should be RB1 for going forward.
Doesn't score.
Doesn't score. But enough about what happened, because there really isn't anything to talk about. As the picture says here, doesn't matter. Seahawks. So, that's that. Oh, the NFC West is probably the weakest division in football this year. Both of y'all are Niners and Seahawks are 5-3, but after that, I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, for the record, fans, you guys out there in TV land, if the NFL playoffs started today, the entire AFC North, that means all 4 teams, Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and Browns, will make the playoffs at the end of today. So all that talk about the NFC East being the best division in football, please stop it. I had a lot of friends telling me that too. Please stop.
And that takes us to the Bengals, who had a nice win. As we take a look now here at the NFL MVP race odds, Mahomes still leading the way.
Look at that. Would you look at God
Lamar
right there?
Jackson,
Would you look at
Joe
God?
Burrow.
Who did you say number 1 was again?
Those odds might as well be interchangeable. 300 and plus 275.
All right.
I'm not doing this show today.
I don't know.
Although
man.
that guy at number 3 is creeping up the rankings because
I agree.
number
4.
I would have Lamar over both of those guys.
Lamar,
right now.
no, 2 ain't got no chance. But y'all, again, I'm sorry, is that 2 quarterbacks from the same division in the top 5 MVP rankings?
Yes, it is.
Is that Action Jackson and Burrow?
And that takes us to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who took down the Bills last night on Sunday
frauds,
Night
another fraud
Football. The Bengals, again, were 2.5-point favorites heading in. They covered a 24-18 win. They are starting to get hot, Jason. The Bengals are starting to look like the Bengals at the end of every season in the last couple of years that have made their way to the AFC title game. Browns, they beat 2 in the Cardinals. You mentioned Pittsburgh beats Tennessee. If it ended today, all 4 teams would be in. 2 questions here for you guys. Are the Bills still Super Bowl contenders? Now they've dropped to 5-4. They've lost some games there. And then who should be your favorite in the AFC? Jason, I know your answer, but I'll ask you anyway.
The Bills were never Super Bowl contenders. I'm sorry. I
know you felt
know
that
where
way.
I'm not of that ilk.
Yeah.
The contenders
make the playoffs, right?
They still might make it because the record, but I don't know right now.
Yeah.
But I would say Super Bowl contenders, yes. I am going to say the Ravens, but again, until someone goes in Arrowhead and beats the Chiefs, they're still a Super Bowl contender. That's just what it is. And the sleeper, I might have the Bengals at 3. And out of the AFC.
No problem with that.
I ain't mad at that.
I think the Bengals. To me, right now, it's the Ravens and the Bengals. To me, I have, and I'm with you there. You knock them. The team is there till you knock them off. But I got those teams. I think are playing both better than the Chiefs are right now. But that Chiefs defense is damn good. What about you? Who's your favorite in the AFC, man?
You come on. You already know who's favorite.
He's gonna say my homeboy. I'm gonna take my Ravens with favorite.
Taking my homeboy.
He's gonna take Patrick.
Well, then I'm going to take the Bengals. We got Ravens, Bengals, and Chiefs. So if you had to pick right day, who do you think's coming out of the AFC right now? We're just through Week 9. Who's going to the Super Bowl? Ravens?
I'm saying Ravens, and it's starting to become a national theme. You know, we're starting to watch games where the announcers are smelling Super Bowl contention for the Ravens too. So not just me saying it at this point.
No, I got the Chiefs, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it was the Ravens, though. I think I'm really impressed with what they did this year. So,
18-1. Lamar, 18-1 versus NFC in his career.
He doesn't want to hear about that.
Can we talk about Josh Allen for a minute, though?
Do we have to?
Most turnovers in the league since 2018, 97.
I'm sorry, and Lamar was what, the 32nd player drafted in the first round, last quarterback of the first round, and everybody drafted ahead of him. He's won an MVP already, though. Just saying, you know.
Yeah.
We gonna let that.
Your guy got an MVP too?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow. Only one person missing.
Only one person doesn't have one.
And it happens to be the quarterback who started the least amount of seasons out of all three. So we'll see in about 2 more years when he gets up to whatever Mahomes was when he won his first. And when
Touche.
Touche. I'll give you that. But
I just
Post
wanna be
Malone
clear.
about to make a new song though called White Cam Newton, starring Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, no.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's going on.
He turns the ball over too much. He does turn the ball over too much. I still think, though, I mean, if you were doing a list of the top 8 quarterbacks in the league, you got to have him on that list, right?
Who?
Top 8 quarterbacks in the league.
Josh
Allen's
Allen?
a top 8 quarterback.
He probably is, man.
He probably is, but I'm gritting my teeth doing it.
Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert,
Mahomes.
That's 5.
That's 6, I think.
Is it?
Something like that.
You can't count on this show, I guess. But either way, I mean, who else is there, though?
I might put Stroud over him right now, man. I got to be honest with you. My boy C.J. Stroud is doing work, man.
He's doing work. Don't get me wrong.
He's
already
bull.
better than Josh Allen.
He's a young bull, but I'm just saying he's doing work.
That's a hot take.
Is that really a hot take?
That's a hot take, yes.
Is that really a hot take? Is that really a hot take?
I would say from a consistency standpoint, it's a hot take.
And again, I think we have to remember the Bills lost maybe their 3 or 4 best defensive players.
Or would you take Jared Goff or Josh Allen?
I'm taking Jared Goff. I'm sorry.
I'm taking Josh Allen, but I
Jared
think
Goff
that's
doesn't turn the ball
really
over.
close.
Okay, Trevor Lawrence or Josh Allen?
I think I'm taking Trevor Lawrence.
This is what I'm saying. This is not crazy. I'm saying.
I think
I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry.
You really gonna struggle between Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen?
I think it's a toss up. Have you watched Trevor Lawrence this year?
Have you watched Josh Allen this year?
Yeah, but that's my point. They've been almost, I would say, similar.
But you're gonna turn your back on Jesus? Trevor Lawrence is like Jesus.
Listen, I know Matt loves. I love Trevor Lawrence. I think he's gonna be a great quarterback. So I think Josh Allen's a good quarterback.
You gonna turn your back on sunshine like that, man?
He turned his back on sunshine like that.
I think they're both interchangeable. I think they're
Y'all ain't winning the Super Bowl this year. You just turned your back on Josh Allen. You better repent, man.
Right.
No, I didn't turn my Trevor. I'm not turning back
You
on either.
turned your back on Trevor Lawrence.
I would take them both over Tua.
And you just.
Ooh, now that's where I disagree.
Okay.
I'm not gonna take them over.
I take him and Josh.
I take Tua over. I take Tua. No,
I'm taking Josh Allen over Tua.
I am still taking.
I'm taking Josh Allen.
I am still. Let
me ask you this: we've seen a small sample size, and again, we're going to talk about C.J. Stroud now. 470 yards, 5 touchdowns, game-winning touchdown to Tank Dell, who looks really good as well. 10 seconds remaining. His most passing yards by a rookie in NFL history. 6th player in NFL history to have 450 yards and 5 touchdowns out of any player, no matter what year, and the highest passer rating in a single game by a rookie quarterback in NFL history. The Texans had 3 receivers with over 100 yards and a touchdown in that game yesterday. What's the ceiling for this Texans team going forward? And C.J. Stroud looking like obviously the next big thing. I know the Panthers are a little bit upset about the way Bryce Young is looking.
They want their money back. They want their money back.
They gave a lot up to go get their boy Bryce Young at number 1, but it's looking like C.J. Stroud could be the guy. But to go back real quickly, what Matt was saying in terms of where does C.J. Stroud kind of fall into your quarterback rankings now?
Only 1 interception.
He's a top 10 quarterback for this season, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers do not lie.
Yeah.
And the Texans actually passed the eye test. I know that's my favorite phrase, but they passed the eye test, and they don't have any names at wide receiver, and they're still doing this. And they won yesterday without Bernard Pierce. They had Devin Singletary starting running back yesterday.
That's a fact.
And they had Ayodele kick a field goal because
that was crazy.
That man was out there kicking with
He
the
buried it
1970
too, man.
kick flow, non-soccer style. That boy was out there doing
Buried
a
it.
straight leg kick.
And it went through, and but honestly, I think that was the best game of yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Amazing.
so exciting. I mean,
It was.
Hey Dennis, I'm gonna give you a shout out, man. Baker's actually playing good football for Tampa Bay this year, man. I can't knock him like we usually do.
No,
I'll
we
say
can't.
that.
He's playing good football.
He's playing good football. But the Achilles heel this year is that Bucs defense. That's what it really is. That's the really elephant in the room.
Supposed to be the strength, right?
It's the
Coming
Bucs
into
defense,
the season,
yeah,
the
but
first,
that's
couple games.
That's the Achilles heel. But man, I turned off the TV, turned it back on. What? Wait, C.J. Stroud with another touchdown? Oh, thank you, C.J. Stroud. You got me 68.89 points
in that league.
Yeah.
in my fantasy league yesterday. Yeah, that league's crazy.
I have one like that too.
68 points.
Dang.
Yeah, listen, I was losing before
That's where you start playing.
for that game, and it
Yeah.
just put him away.
Whew.
And thank you, Tyreek Hill, for choking, because I was playing against the person that had Tyreek Hill, so that's kind of it balanced out.
Tyreek Hill didn't. Yeah.
But yeah, I really like what the Texans, just to pass it off to Matt, good brother. You mentioned C.J. Stroud earlier in the season.
Yep.
You mentioned him right after the draft.
Yep.
Is the curse of the Ohio State quarterback NFL finally broken with C.J. Stroud?
just for
It's
him.
with Stroud. For Stroud, yeah. I don't know about the rest of them,
I don't
but
know about
with
Cohen
Stroud,
I don't know about
yeah,
McCord next year.
he's
Probably
shattered that.
Well, I mean, he's broken with Joe Burrow too, but people are gonna say that. Hey, I'm gonna say it every time.
Hey, Georgia Tech still trying to claim Joe Flacco, man. It's not gonna happen, bro. UD got that one, bro. I'm just saying, But yeah, no, I hear you. No, look, he's amazing. I'm just saying, look, they're good money, man. They're in good hands, the Texans. I like their coach. I like the future they have, and going forward, if he continues on this ascent, they're going to be in really good shape for the future.
Is there a shot the Texans make the playoffs? A shot? Yes.
Yes, because I don't trust Pittsburgh all the way.
You have Buffalo on the outside looking in, the Jets on the outside looking in right now.
Yeah, so the AFC is a really strong conference. this year.
Chargers way down the line. Also.
Well, the Chargers' downfall is that they play in the NFC West, and they're gonna lose to the Chiefs every time. I mean, let's just be honest. They're never gonna split with the Chiefs. Let's just be honest. The AFC East rather. That's probably would be the second division I would say would be tough because all those teams can any given Sunday can beat anybody. That's it now. They can lose anybody on any given Sunday too.
Yep.
But yeah, the Texans not this year. They're going to get close though. They might end up winning like 8 games.
Yeah,
they might go 8-9.
their over/under was somewhere like 3.5.
It's like 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, so they're exceeding
They
expectations.
might win 8 games. Yeah.
And one team that now exceed expectations, at least yesterday, one of the worst teams in the league coming into this week was the Las Vegas Raiders. They took on the Giants in Antonio Pierce's coaching debut. They got rid of McDaniels, and they had a party at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. And they played like they were happy to be under a new head coach. Daniel Jones does tear his ACL in this game. He is out for the season. Things continue to be bad for the Giants. They just get worse and worse. The Raiders in the first 8 games scored 21 points or fewer a game, rushed for fewer than 100 yards in every game, and recorded at least 1 turnover in every game this season. But on Sunday, they scored 30, they rushed for $125, and they had 0 turnovers, all under new head coach Antonio Pierce. Josh Jacobs, 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Is Antonio Pierce the guy, Matt, here going forward for the Las Vegas? I know it's a small sample size, just 1 game, but is he maybe the head coach of this team for the future?
I mean, currently, sure. I mean, I just have no faith in the Raiders. I mean, look, maybe he can turn it over. I don't know. He's got a roster that's just a mess. They've got to do some really good work in the draft coming up. They've got to make some choices with some guys that they've had. So, look, he's going to have a short leash, unfortunately, which I don't agree. I think sometimes these coaches, they should get a little bit more time to make the roster work. But unfortunately, with the NFL, it's like a 1-year renewable league sometimes with some of these coaches. So, look, I really hope he gets it going. Look, I liked him as a player. No nonsense. Definitely looks like he has a lot of discipline. I think he's more respected from the players than McDaniels was. So, like, that's a plus for them. So.
And they had Rich Bisaccia years back. Jason, after the Gruden stuff happened, he ended up taking them to the playoffs through all that. They fired him right after that first game. They gave the Bengals a run. Lost by 1 possession to the Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl. They fired him. They bring in Josh McDaniels. Didn't work out. Now Antonio Pierce.
I love Antonio Pierce with this team. To echo Matt, I've always been an Antonio Pierce fan as a player. He's always fiery. He always said what he felt like he wanted to say. But if you listen to him, if you know Antonio Pierce, to know him is to love him, and to know him is to also know that he's a lifelong Raider. Like, he was a fan his entire life. Even played NFL. He played for the Giants, but he was still rooting interest for the Raiders, you know. And he's finally back home, essentially, if you will. Coaches hometown team, so it means a little bit more to him, and he lets the players know that. And I think right now is the perfect reset for Vegas, and for him to get his first win over a team he played for. I mean, they beat the dog stuff out of the Giants, and the Giants.
Battling for that number 1
big,
pick, maybe. Huh?
Big Blue is little boo boo. I like, God, they're horrible, and you paid that man $40 million over
45 a year.
a year, and he probably won't come back until midseason next year.
He's the 6th highest paid player at any position in the league in 2023.
I'm sorry, I feel about the Giants what you feel about Philadelphia. So I really can't stand the Giants. They're like the Giants are my other team besides Pittsburgh. I just can't stand.
I respect that.
So I hot ass mess, if you will.
But I'm with you there. I think he could be. I mean, depending on the rest of the season goes, I love what they showed out in his first game. I thought they looked a lot loose. They just played a lot more free. Like I said, 30 points for the first time all season. Let's see how it goes, but I think he could be the answer.
Let's think about.
But will he be? I don't know. Mark Davis is a wild card.
Let's go back to the Giants for a second, because this is.
Do we have to?
Yeah, I want to. I want to. I want to rub the pain in. No, just a little bit. So you don't have Tyrod and Waller for about 4 or 6 weeks already. Saquon's been in that lineup. Then now you lose your franchise quarterback. What will the Giants actually do? I mean, because
tank?
You don't really have anybody. You haven't had any wide receivers since you let Odell go.
I mean, that's the biggest thing ever.
But my thing is this: you traded Odell for what? At this point, what receiver have you had since?
Trevor Hudson, Sterling Shepard.
Who?
Yeah.
Wandale Robinson,
Who?
Darius Toney.
Who's the one they got from the Lions? Galladay?
Galladay. He's been
One of
on
the worst.
He's been on.
one of the worst history.
He's been on milk carton for 3 seasons.
But he's still now. They still haven't found him.
Listen, but again, this is indicative of what the Giants do. They go for the big names, a home run, or they think they're smarter than what they actually are, and they end up, where they are. And we are talking about the last team that started the black quarterback in the NFL, so you get what you get. Next.
Yeah, but I think, just really quick, I'm going to touch on this real quick. I think the Giants represent the biggest problem that the NFL has, and that is the allure of knowing what you have and then risking going into the mystery box and pulling something else. They wanted Daniel Jones. They were the only one that wanted Daniel Jones to this level, $40 million. I don't care what his agent says. There was no other team lining up to give him $40 million. They wanted to do it because they didn't want to go into the unknown and get somebody else, and so you get what you get. When you keep a guy around that you know isn't the guy, I don't care what anybody says. You can look at Daniel Jones. You know he's not the guy. He's a competent QB. I give him that. But he's not the guy.
And we see that all over the league all the time.
All over.
When you look at Tannehill with the Titans, same thing with Ryan. I mean, there's a couple guys, that have that same thing where, like, that team's just going to stick with them, and it's going to be constant mediocrity, I think, year after year.
And I'm going to give your team credit, because I think that was the thing that the Eagles did smarter than anybody. They invested. They had this high investment with Wentz. They got a huge return with Wentz. And then when they saw that something wasn't going to work right, they said, you know what, in the second round, we're going to go get Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. And then when they kept – when
people
they kept
hated that pick in the second round.
Hated the pick. And when they saw that it wasn't going well, they said, you know what, we're just going to let this go because we got Hurts. And that's what I'm saying. You got to sometimes be strong enough to say, you know what, I'd rather go with the unknown because I know what I got here, and what I got here ain't the guy.
And you maybe have a similar feeling as a 49er fan for Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe.
Trey Lance, all those guys.
They decided to move on. Same thing with the Raiders now with Jimmy Garoppolo. They have moved on. They're not going to stick with him.
Well, we kept Jimmy G a little too long.
About 3 years too long.
Yeah, about 3 years too long.
Yeah.
That's I saw that with a couple teams. And, again, we all talked, and I like Kenny Pickett a little bit, but we'll see if he's the answer going forward and how long the Steelers decide to stick with him.
Yeah.
If Mike Tomlin wants to keep his job, he has to let Kenny Pickett go.
Already? Like, you're already – I think you got to give him the end of the year. I think.
No, I mean, like, going forward. Kenny Pickett's not the answer there.
I'm good with that.
When you have Pickens deleting all his social media and stuff like that, and that's the best player you got on offense right now.
Pickett is throwing
tantrums.
Everything around the room.
You gotta.
He's crying in the car for sure.
But go ahead, man. I know you got to go to this no huddle.
We got to keep going. We're going to head to the no huddle. Let's run some NASCAR here, guys, quickly.
Yep.
Matt, we'll start with you here for this one. Packers beat the Staffordless Rams 20-3. Aaron Jones is back. He got 20 carries in that game. He looks good. The Rams without Stafford look very, very bad. Rippon might be the worst backup quarterback in the league. Thoughts about the Packers beating the Rams? Anything you take away from that one?
Just the fact that I think we see that Love needs that running back to get going. And he looked a lot better, but I still don't know if he's the answer there either.
That's another good question. We'll find out. Some rumors about that in Green Bay. Also, Jason, Commanders, they come back. They were trailing New England. They beat the Patriots in Foxborough 20-17. But should they be winning games? What do you take away? Are the Commanders, shouldn't they be tanking? They just traded away everybody. What are they doing winning?
No, Commanders should not be tanking. They should be winning. And as a person who is from Maryland, from Maryland, and you have to hear about this market too. So I'm okay with the Commanders beating the Patriots. I'm okay with anyone beating the Patriots. You know,
this year especially. It's the year to beat them up on them now.
Any year, I'm okay with anyone beating New England. Is this the last ride for Belichick? Is the answer? This is the question I have right now. It should be.
That's right, behind the scenes that nobody knew about.
They gave him an extension.
Behind the scenes, 2 more years, I think, added on. We'll see if they contract
for
one thing.
What? Because Matt Jones is...
Matt Jones!
Who? He's one of those guys that can fit that list.
Boo-boo, too.
When will they go away from Matt
Boo-boo, the fool.
Yeah, that's a fact.
For sure.
Time to stop Bailey Zappi there,
Saints beat the Bears at home. It was a lot harder than it needed to be, though. 24-17. They now are in sole possession of first in the NFC South. Thoughts about the Saints and Derek Carr?
Derek Carr has put together like 3 or 4 300-yard passing games.
After looking atrocious
in a row. I mean,
he's still trash.
I'm gonna give him credit.
I'm
not still trash. Shout out to Slash though, Taysom Hill. I appreciate you, dog. You my tight end in fantasy, baby.
I benched him.
We cheating, but we put you at tight end, baby, because we good.
He lines up at tight end 4th in percentage of snaps. It's the 4th position that he lines up in.
I benched him and still won. I'm like, God, thank God.
CJ Stroud, there you go.
Yeah, I benched him.
All right, Matt, the Colts, they take down the Panthers. We talked about this one already.
Yeah.
Bryce Young's struggles continue. 3 interceptions for the number 1 overall pick. 2 ran back by Kenny Moore for touchdowns. They lose 27-13. Time to panic in Carolina. He gave up a lot to get him.
That man looking like Achilles Smith, man. It's time to let it go. Think you better let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Achilles Smith.
Achilles Smith, man. Ooh. That boy looking out. He looking bad out there, boy.
He said Achilles Smith.
Achilles Smith. He look like Jamarcus Russell out there, man. He looking bad.
Jamarcus Russell would eat Bryce Young, man. That's the difference between those two guys. But the results on the field look pretty
But
similar,
they both look like they looked at the same game film, though.
I don't know.
None. It's looking bad out there, dog.
Jason, before we go, is it too early to give up on Bryce Young?
God, this is tough.
That's tough.
I'm going to say yes because I gave up I gave on Frank Reich a long time ago.
So you're giving up.
On Frank Reich.
You've given up.
I'm giving up on Bryce Young.
No.
I think you got to give Bryce Young some time.
I give up on the coach.
I don't think he's ever going to be C.J. Stroud, but we all knew that when we did our
Some time. What's the time, though?
Another year?
Another year?
At least, another year at least.
But
and here's the thing, and this is what happens to these young quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield had to deal with this in Cleveland. Say they have a horrible year and he plays the same way he's playing now. Frank Reich, what if he gets fired after one season? He bring in a new head coach, a new system, a new offensive coordinator, and then he's looking at his second. And then this goes on and on.
Frank Reich should be fired. You should never got the job in the first place.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm with you there.
He should be fired.
We'll see how it works out for. But they watched C.J. Stroud yesterday, and they were not happy to see that.
Thought. Could the Panthers go after Kyler Murray in the offseason?
Arizona is kind of saying that, things behind closed doors in Arizona is they're going to play him now the rest of the year. It could be an audition for another team or themselves.
Why would they want to get another miniature QB?
At least they already know what you could get with
It's like
Kyler
Honey,
Murray.
I Shrunk the QB. They want another one?
Well,
hey, David Tepper is just spending money. He wants to be good so bad. I've never seen an owner try this hard. It's like the Steve Ballmer of the Clippers, but for the Panthers, and they just can't get anything going.
I'm good. If you, I'm like the Rides, man. You gotta be this tall to play quarterback for my team, bro.
until they do right by Cam.
This will make the real Instagram reel. I'm sure
You gotta
this
be
is
this
great,
tall
this
to make
Instagram.
my squad, bro. You ain't this tall.
Until the Panthers do
You can't see over the center. You can't
No,
play
you can't play
quarterback.
my squad,
until
bro.
the Panthers do right by Cameron Newton. This is what you're gonna get. 'Cause
Not the camera.
Curse? The Cam Newton
it's
curse?
the Cameron Newton curse.
You heard it here first. Is until that's...
Think about it. Since he's been gone, what's happened?
They've been absolutely dreadful.
Shout out to Jake DeLone, man.
Jake DeLone. Wow.
Jake
That's the
DeLone.
last time, man. We've seen Muhammad, Steve Smith.
Kerry
Collins?
Collins, the ghost of Kerry Collins.
Wesley Walls, baby.
That's right. There we go.
man. So
Sam
that's
Mills.
That's the rest of this
Keep
week.
pounding.
We wrap it up here with the No Huddle. That'll take us into tonight's Monday Night Football preview. The Chargers and the Jets. Maybe better game than what we're used to seeing on prime time here on a Monday and a Thursday. Chargers -3 on the road at the Jets. Over-under set at 40.5. One of the lowest ones, at least for the Chargers, coming into this season. The Jets guys have won 3 straight. Big thing to watch here tonight is that Chargers defensive line against that beat-up trash Jets offensive line. They lost 2 centers after losing their original center a couple weeks ago. They're on their 3rd or 4th center coming into tonight. They've lost their tackles. Elijah Vera-Tucker, their guards, out for the year. They have a makeshift offensive line. We'll see how they hold up against Bosa and Khalil Mack.
Is Becton still healthy?
No, I don't think so. I think he got hurt last week or the week before.
He's like he can play, but I don't think he's at his full strength yet. Like he can play though.
Speaking of which, real quickly off topic, Jason Peters started for the Seahawks on Sunday.
Jason Peters still playing?
Yeah, he signed.
Wait, that was him on the field?
He's 42 or 43 years old.
That
He
was
got
him on
to
the field on
That was
Sunday?
him, and that's why he got beat 37-3. Seattle. Jason Peters is your starting tackle there.
You might as well get Walter Jones, man. This is crazy, bro.
But guys, now
Cortez
who
Kennedy.
wins tonight though? Quickly, who wins and why? Chargers or Jets? You can pick the spread, or you can take them straight up.
Chargers.
Jason, what are you thinking?
I think the Jets beat the brakes off the Chargers tonight.
Beat the brakes off them.
No,
Really?
I got Herbert in fantasy, so
I do too. But
Chargers.
I don't.
I need 32 out of it.
I really think that this is a game for the Jets defense to look at their chops. That's why. I think it's one of those defensive
pause.
Let's look at their chops. Ain't nothing about that. They ain't no pause worthy.
I'm taking the Jets in a close game. I mean, when you look at it, you're thinking, man, how can you take the Jets over the Chargers? I mean, I'm sure,
I'll tell you
I'm
how.
with you. I think the defense, I think it's a close game. Jets by 3. The defense gets, I'm going to say 24-21 Jets.
Depending on Zach Wilson. If he can play under control and doesn't give the ball up, they got.
I think they do because they've been running the ball the last 3 games. That's why they won on
The
the 3-game win
Chargers
streak.
can be run on, but
If
again,
they-
that
yeah.
offensive
That's
line,
what I'm
and
saying.
that's what scares
That's
me,
my
though,
thing.
is
The
that
Chargers
offensive
can be
line for
the
Jets
Chargers can be
is-
ran on.
My God, it's bad.
And the Chargers can be ran
They
on.
need Brees Hall to be Brees Hall.
Brees Hall's been
But can he be Brees Hall getting hit 3 yards in the backfield every snap?
but he's been Brees Hall. He's been getting some decent numbers.
They got to get him the ball through
I'm a
the air.
huge
Set up
believer in his
screens.
talent. I don't know.
I think Brees
Their
Hall
offensive
has
line
a
is terrible.
great game. I think he has over 125 yards rushing tonight.
Well, with that being said,
Wow.
we're going to take the Jets. You're taking the Chargers?
Taking the Chargers.
All right, heading into it tonight. So we're taking the dogs straight up, Jason. We'll see if we can get that plus money on the money line here with the Jets.
Money
That'll
line.
take us to the over-unders. Matt, I'm going to start with you here. You just talked about your fantasy quarterback, Mr. Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Over-under 250.5 pass yards against that tough Jets D.
Definitely.
Jason, over to you now with Zach Wilson. Over-under 216.5 yards for a quarterback that's been playing better these last couple of weeks.
Over.
Here we go, Matt. Back to you for Brees Hall. Over under 59.5 rush yards with that beat-up offensive line.
He'll go over.
Jason Austin Eckler, a little bit lower, 49.5 yards with the Chargers against that tough Jets defensive line.
Under. He'll have more receiving yards.
There you go. More rush yards, though, here. Matt Wilson or Herbert out of the quarterback spot. Who's going to run for more?
Wilson.
Wilson going to take off more rush yards. Hall or Eckler?
Hall.
There you go. And then more receiving yards. I'll take this one. Garrett Wilson or Keenan Allen. Oh, that's a tough one there, actually.
that's a tough one.
I'm going to take Keenan Allen. And then Matt, more receptions, though, for one of those
I'm
guys.
going Allen for sure. I
Allen
take
more
Wilson
receptions.
on the yards, though.
Over-under for Keenan Allen's receiving yards, Jason, 74.5. Over or under?
Over, because he has to be the guy.
Has to be the guy tonight in there. Speaking of which, Quentin Johnson going to have to step up. Palmer on IR. Mike Williams out for the season.
What?
Palmer's on
Palmer
IR?
IR?
Palmer, yes, he was
What
placed
happened?
on IR over the weekend.
Wow.
Saturday evening was placed on
that
IR.
I'm for sure
Jalen
taking
Guyton got elevated from the practice squad.
Oh, I'm for sure taking it to just tonight. What?
Yeah, I didn't know Palmer was out. This is terrible.
I'm sorry to enlighten you with that.
Is Everett still tight end for you?
He comes back tonight. He's healthy. He's back. Quentin Johnson, 32.5 receiving yards. He's going to have to step up.
Never gonna happen.
Low, yeah, I'm saying under 2. First round pick. Quentin, maybe he'll get things going, but I'm going to say under tonight.
I'll say under as well.
Under? Jay's not even going to.
If you can't get over 32 yards in the game as a wide receiver, that's like 3 catches. Like I'll give him over slightly.
Okay, and then with that, anytime touchdown tonight, guys. We've been pretty good with this so far. Hope you all are taking note and listening.
We have
to
been
us.
actually.
Anytime touchdowns, Matt. Who gets into the end zone tonight in the Jets and the Chargers?
I'm going with Eckler. Pass.
Austin Eckler.
I'm going Breece Hall, man.
Austin Eckler,
Okay.
Breece Hall, and then how about this one? The last 2 games that Gerald Everett has played, he has scored a touchdown. He
was
sat
thinking
out
about
last week with an injury. We saw Donald Parham, I believe, catch a touchdown. They both play. Give me some plus money on Gerald Everett to get
I'm
in the
mad
end
at
zone
that.
tonight.
I thought about that
I'm not mad at that at all.
All right, there are our picks. And, guys, quickly, we're going to wrap up here in the next couple minutes. But before we do, let's take a look at the landscape of the NBA. We're about 6 games in here on a Monday night. Sixers are currently up by 16 over the Washington Wizards, who are, of course, led by Jordan Poole. But that's a conversation we'll save for another time. But, guys, here we are talking just a little bit about the NBA. Jason, your Boston Celtics 5-0, sitting atop the conference. The Sixers been played well through 5 games, playing not that tough of a schedule to start here with new head coach Nick Nurse. You see the Eastern Conference right there, guys. What stands out to you here in about week number 2 of the NBA?
What stands out to me, Dame Lillard is playing his worst defense of his entire career, and defensive efficiency for the Bucks is putrid.
From being one of the best defensive teams in the league last year in terms of that exact statistic to now looking like maybe one of the worst.
And thank you, Drew Holiday, coming over to Celtics. We appreciate you, good brother. No, the Celtics actually, like, not even being a homer, but the Celtics look scary right now.
I tried, and we sat up here, and I said that we picked them, I think, to go to the finals here.
And for all those,
I got in some arguments with, and again, it's early, so we won't know. I mean, there's a lot of time left.
A lot of time left.
But I think it's, you don't want to say a 2A race. I thought Boston would be tough to take down in the Eastern Conference. We're just 5 games in, but it's looking that way so far.
And for all those naysayers who questioned why we traded Robert Williams, he has to get knee surgery. It was announced today.
It came out today.
So, I mean, we dodged the bullet again. So,
Celtics made a couple good moves here.
Just want to throw it out there. But yeah, I like the Celtics. Like I said, I really like the Clippers. I like the Clippers a lot.
Well, let's talk about the Eastern Conference real quick
Okay,
before we
okay,
get to the
okay,
West,
cool.
though. You look at it, and you have the Celtics and the Bucks, Matt.
Yep.
And we talked about the Celtics. We took the Celtics. You took the Bucks to win the East.
Yep.
Is it? I mean, we're only through 5 games, and could be a stupid conversation. We'll have it again every week going forward.
Yep.
But is it a 2-horse race in the Eastern Conference with just the Celtics and the Bucks? Does anybody else have a shot to get to the final?
I think Philly has a shot. Yeah, Philly has a shot.
I like to hear that.
I'm actually disappointed in the whole Milwaukee situation. I think what we took for granted was that Drew Holiday's defense and also the fact that they also lost Grayson Allen. They've lost some guys that defensively did help them. So if they don't get somebody that puts on that mantle and goes out there and plays defense for them, Bucks are going to have some situations. And I got to be honest. And look, again, it's only 6 games in, so again, this is just an observation 6 games into the season. But Giannis looks like he's struggling to find his niche in that offense right now with Dame Lillard. So that's something to watch out for. I do think he'll figure it out eventually, but he's not as aggressive as he's been.
It's Giannis'
I
fault.
think he's kind of taking a little bit of a back seat.
It's Giannis' fault. He gave Dame the keys,
He said that
and
too.
he shouldn't have.
He said it's Dame's team.
Yeah,
Dame has to adapt to him.
Yeah, he's tripping.
That's how it should be.
And now Dame's great. I'm not going to take it away from him. I am not. But Giannis, you already won MVP. You've already won a championship. Dame should be taking a back seat to you, sir.
Dame's overrated, but yeah.
Oh, here we go.
And now again, this conversation
We'll talk about it later on.
slide in
Yeah.
there maybe as we go forward. We'll see. But now let's take a look at the Western Conference. Obviously, strong as we predicted. How about Dallas? Luka and Kyrie at 5-1 to start. The Warriors have looked good with that trade for Chris Paul. He's coming off the bench for the first time in his career. It's paying off. Zion looks really good, and the Pelicans have showed some flashes here early on. The Clippers at 3-2, but get James Harden tonight for the first time after the big trade with the 76ers last Monday night. The Phoenix 3-4. They're sitting at the 10 spot right now, but again, dealing with already, as we talked about, injuries to some of their star players. We'll see if they can get healthy going forward. The Kings 2-3 to start, a little bit surprising there. And then, as Jason talked about last week, the Grizzlies really struggling without John Morant. Picked up their first win, I believe, over the weekend here
last night over the Blazers.
So you take a look at it. Denver sitting back at that top spot. You're defending NBA champions. We expected them to obviously be near the top of that list, but Jason, what stands out to you in the Western Conference?
I'm gonna tell you what stands out. The 1-5 for Memphis right now. I don't think you're gonna get a true Memphis team until Ja Morant comes back, and then you'll see who they really are as a team. I think they're just treading water, but not really. They're drowning right now, actually.
Jaren Jackson getting dunked on.
I think they got mid talent.
And I think that
you're right.
Ja
Was disguised.
Yeah, I mean, but Memphis has always had mid talent, and they had players who brought out more than what they were worth. I mean, but losing Steven Adams again for the whole season was probably the biggest blow for that team. I think the 5-1 for the Mavs is fool's gold right now.
I like that.
You like the Mavs at 5?
I like it because of Grant Williams, who you've had.
They've got some good additions in the offseason.
And, Derek Lively. He's
How about his
void
start?
for them.
I still think it's fool's gold right now. Now, ask this question a month from now, then I may be on the train for that. But I think right now I can't trust it yet because it's Kyrie still.
No, I hear you.
And you talked about the issue last year was when they made that trade was how could you disguise defensively? How are you going to pick that up? Because they were awful last year after they got Kyrie. Him and Luka in the backcourt really couldn't guard anybody. This year they they get Grant Williams, though. You're right. Derek Lively has stepped in and has been already, I think, better than expected this early in his career defensively for them, playing in the middle, getting rebounds, blocking shots.
Almost a double-double.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, I know we thought it would take him some time. I thought to maybe acclimate himself to the NBA. He's already looking pretty good there.
Not in this NBA. There's no big men, so he's going to be fine.
I like the Mavericks, and again, I don't know if they'll be able to continue it. I would like to say they can, and I hope they do, because I think it'd be fun to see Kyrie and Luka have success in Dallas.
Well, right now they're down 46-36 over the Magic second quarter.
Second quarter. We'll come back. But Matt, talk a little bit about the Western Conference here. Is there a team that stands out to you, or just, I guess, what have you seen through the first 6 games? And Harden coming to play with the Clippers tonight, Jason. That was your team to come out of the West. Do you feel better or worse about the Clippers now with James Harden?
Worse. I'm not a believer in Harden from a talent. From a talent standpoint, I believe in Harden. From a team dynamic and fitting in with team concepts, I don't believe in Harden.
He says he can play with any system.
Yeah, he says
he is the system.
That's the problem. Look, I think the Clippers were already in a situation where they had a lot of egos with Russell, with Paul George, with Kawhi. They have an emerging young guy in Terrence Mann, and then when you bring in Harden, who still believes he's in Houston, dropping 37 points a game.
Hey, he said the Sixers kept him on a leash last year.
Yeah.
You got Bones in that rotation at the guard.
He's been playing very well. Shout out to Busy.
Who I think is
the sixth man right now.
Yeah, I think he deserved a lot more time than he's getting. I think Harden's going to cut into that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. It's just that I just don't. I get why they did it, just to put butts in the seats, and then they're fighting for the attention of LA, for the Lakers, but. At the end of the day, I mean, James Harden, I just think at this point in his career, he's a very good player who doesn't realize that his best years, unfortunately, are behind him. He's not going to get back to averaging 37 points a game. He'll have games where he does have those big moments, but for the most, he's a 20-point guy when he's efficient, and that's the problem.
He's a point guard now only.
Correct.
Which is not bad.
No.
Because he still led league in assists.
Yeah, he did last year.
But he's not the elite scorer anymore. No, he's not there because that first step is gone.
Yeah, first step is gone.
And again, there's a place
first and second step.
And again, to that point, there is a place for him in the league as long as he's the one that realizes that.
Yeah.
And it comes to grasp that.
He's an elite point guard. I said that about James Harden.
Yeah.
He's an elite point guard. Like his passing ability is
he's got awesome court vision.
Like court vision is amazing.
Yeah,
I think he's the buy-in that he's a point guard now, and he's not he's not a 2 guard.
That's what he has to buy into.
He's a point guard.
Yeah.
If that's the case, maybe the Clippers will have success. We'll wait and find out. Biggest surprise to me through, again, 5 games, so relatively meaningless.
But that's what worries me,
Sacramento.
though, is that part. Because he averaged 20 and 10 last year. What else were they holding you back from?
And again, he had the
to
ball
me,
in
that
his
sounded like
hands
they're holding me back
90% of
from
the game.
points. Like, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, 20
That's how I read it.
I'll take 20 and 10 any day of the week.
That's
like,
a fact.
Anybody
Yeah.
would. Like
That's
20
a
and
fact.
10
That's a fact. 20 and 10?
in the NBA.
And you saying you're being held back? You're telling me this
Because nobody averaged 20 and 10 in anything. Points, rebounds, points, assists, you name it. Nobody averaged 20 and 10 anymore.
Right.
This isn't the 90s.
Yeah.
Nobody does it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh. I think it's like you said, it's his mentality. And like I said they like the Clippers before they made the trade.
Yeah, yes, you did. Is that changing? I mean, you would think, even in Vegas, the odds go up around the media.
the same.
They talk about him higher.
Yeah.
But
The odds
here
stay
we
the
are
same.
sitting here having this conversation.
No, the odds stay the same once they got him.
I'm taking Denver from out.
Yeah,
I'm not taking Denver though.
Denver. I was on the Suns. It took me one game
No.
for that injury sheet to come out for the first game of the year.
Denver's not repeating.
For me to change my vote.
I don't think Denver's repeating.
Or
but
making it back.
But I'm out on the Clippers.
Okay,
getting it, yeah.
I'll give you that.
We'll see what happens the next week, and we'll
Golden
talk
State
about
might go
it
back to the finals.
again
Jesus
next
Christ.
Monday. I would love to see that.
I
They
wouldn't.
disappointed me last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. That'll do it for all of us here on a Monday. Nick Alessandrini, Jason McCall, Matt Maurer, and Dennis. We'll see you next Monday with a recap of Week 10, and we'll also check out what's going on in the NBA and college basketball. Will have a week under their belts
Tar
as
Heels.
well. So we'll see you next week.
Go Birds.